Some breaking news here from Politico. In the immediate aftermath of Trump's conviction on 34 felony counts in his New York trial, he called Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, and told him, quote, "We have to overturn this." And of course, it didn't prove especially difficult to convince Mike Johnson, who was one of a number of Republicans lining up behind their God King during his trial, to do what he couldn't, namely to attack the judge and witnesses and to try to undermine the trial itself. Johnson was instrumental in moving forward a bill authored by Republican Congressman Russell Fry that would allow presidents charged at the state level to move those cases to federal court. In other words, it would effectively neuter the state's abilities to prosecute federal officials, namely the president, which is absolutely the right of those states. I shouldn't have to be the one to remind Republicans here that the 10th Amendment to the Constitution says that all powers not directly attributed to the federal government in the Constitution are to be left to the states. I also shouldn't be the one to remind Republicans that it's them who quite literally have spent years expressing the importance of states' rights, only now to demand that states shouldn't have any autonomy to exercise their criminal laws, and that instead they should be delegated to the federal government. But hey, anything to protect dear leader, even if it means discarding every shred of principles or values that they claim to hold. According to Politico, Johnson has also been in talks with Jim Jordan to use the appropriations process in Congress to target special counsel Jack Smith's prosecutions. And to be clear, this is a step further than Johnson has gone before. Just last month, when Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to usher through the process of defunding Jack Smith as well, Johnson said, quote, "That's not something you wave a wand and just eliminate the special counsel as a provision." But of course, that was last month, clearly before Mike Johnson answered the clarion call sent down by Donald Trump. And so now, Johnson is seriously considering it, suggesting that a president should only be prosecuted in federal court because, quote, "jury selection is more robust and includes more disclosures." He continued on saying, quote, "In my experience so far, the more House members have heard about it, the more comfortable they are with it. It is not a unique concept." How about that? More and more Republicans in the House are comfortable now with the concept of Donald Trump not facing accountability in state court just days after he was found guilty of 34 criminal charges. Shocker, huh? Which of course closely aligns with Jim Jordan's position here. Jordan said, quote, "The country certainly sees what's going on, and they don't want Fani Willis and Alvin Bragg and these kinds of folks to be able to continue to use grant dollars for targeting people in a political lawfare type of way." In other words, state prosecutors shouldn't be allowed to prosecute presidents for their state crimes because something law and order. Did I get that right? Of course, that only counts for Trump because all the while, Republicans are barreling ahead with their effort to prosecute the Democratic president, Joe Biden, for, well, they haven't exactly come up with that part yet, but they're pretty damn sure it's something really, really bad. We are now in month 16 of the House Oversight Committee and the House Judiciary Committee's deep dive into Biden's purported criminal activity, and thus far, what they've come up with is that one time there was a car loan between Joe and Hunter Biden that was repaid. That's it. That's the damning evidence. A family loan that was repaid. Hope all you Americans out there are paying close attention because the days of you lending family members money is very rightly coming to an end. And so now, Comer is promising a criminal referral for Joe Biden as the result of his investigation that amounted to nothing.
Are you saying that we could expect a criminal referral against Joe Biden for money laundering? Is that what you just said?
Well, I think that it's no secret Joe Biden's committed many crimes, and I think that you're going to see a report very soon. That report is imminent. That'll probably be an interim report that updates everyone on the crimes that Biden and his administration have committed throughout this investigation and through the years of the Obama-Biden administration.
Well, you have subpoena power. Why not subpoena these people as well? Put them in the hot seat.
Well, We've subpoenaed all the associates. The only person we haven't talked to is Joe Biden. As you know, it's hard to subpoena a sitting president, or the Democrats would have done that to Donald Trump. But I think that what we've done in all of our depositions and interviews has been very substantive, and it's going to be very useful in accountability.
In other words, James Comer didn't even uncover any evidence to call for Biden's impeachment, and that's in a chamber that Republicans quite literally control. But he somehow has enough evidence for the even higher standard that would warrant criminal conviction, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. Please, someone, make it make sense. But let's be clear, this newfound position of potentially defunding Jack Smith in blind deference to Donald Trump is so extreme that even some Republicans are offering pushback. Idaho Republican Mike Simpson said, quote, "I don't think it's a good idea unless you can show that the prosecution acted in bad faith or fraud or something like that. They're just doing their job. Even though I disagree with what they did, that's exactly what we'd be doing." Tell you what, watching Republicans figure out what their party is in real time is just a sight to behold. I don't know whether it feels some fleeting sense of compassion for someone like Mike Simpson that one Republican managed to see the truth, or embarrassed that it took so long for him to get there, but either way, not great for someone who's supposed to have the judgment to lead the country. But I want to step back for a minute, because you'll remember how at the top, Donald Trump's command to Mike Johnson was, "We have to overturn this." Here's the thing. Trump was literally impeached and indicted for using exactly this tactic. One might think that after trying to quote-unquote overturn the last presidential election, a crime for which he's currently facing criminal charges in D.C. and in Fulton County, Georgia, and has the stain of an unprecedented second impeachment on his resume, that he might perhaps consider not trying to overturn results. But when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This is Donald Trump's entire MO. He is a loser who is incapable of accepting any results that he doesn't like, which these days are many, whether it's the voices of 81 million Americans who voted him out of office in 2020, or 12 impartial jurors who were chosen by his own legal team, mind you, who found him guilty on all 34 criminal counts against him in New York. Maybe a little less time trying to overturn things, and a little more time not being so contemptible and criminal that people keep repudiating you. Just, for starters. Of course, nothing will change because Trump and Republicans have fully embraced these underhanded tactics. They don't care about winning in a legitimate matter. They don't care about playing by the rules. They don't care about any mandate. They just want power for the sake of power by any means necessary, and they don't care how they get it. If it means they undermine the rule of law, which they beat their chests about, so be it. If it means they undermine the Constitution, which they beat their chests about, so be it. If it means they undermine our very system of government, or our national security, or our system of checks and balances, which they beat their chests about, so be it. The Republican Party is telling us who they are in no uncertain terms. This right here is the warning. They are broadcasting that they will stop at nothing for power. It is our job to start taking them seriously. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.